Hello, welcome to People in Perspective. I'm Julius Hernandez, and joining me today is Mr. Kus. How are you doing today, Mr. Kus?
I'm doing well.
Would you like to tell us about how you found your way at RBHS High School?
Sure. I grew up in Broadview and went to Lindop Grade School. And then I went to Proviso East High School, after which I went to Triton College, and then I went to the University of Illinois and Chicago Circle.
Would you like to tell us about your family?
Sure. My mom is 85 years old, bless her heart, and she's still very active. She bowls in a bowling league, and last week one of her scores was 161, which is incredible because I don't bowl 161. I've got 3 sisters, and I've got 2 children. My daughter lives in Boulder, Colorado. She's a music major, and she's in the Denver Symphony Orchestra as a part-timer and is in an all-girl punk rock band called Pretty in Punk that plays in the Denver bars and club scenes. My son is a chemist and he lives in Niles.
That's great to hear. What do you like to do most? What do you like to do for fun?
I like to garden, of all things. I've got marigolds coming up right now, and daffodils and tulips, and I like to play softball for fun. I'm 61 years old, and last year I was part of a national championship softball team.
Well, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a baseball player, but unfortunately the first day of Proviso East, I walked across the baseball field and the coach did not like it and he threw a rake at me. And so I decided I wasn't going to play for him. I ended my baseball career.
So how was Proviso East?
Proviso East was nothing like RB. I went there when it was a more tumultuous time. There was some race problems and there was a lot of fights. And I begged my parents after the first day of school to move to Brookfield so I could go to RB because I wanted to play baseball. Begged them to come to RB. They wouldn't move.
So what do you like most about RB?
The people. The faculty is great. There's friendly and courteous and helpful, and the students are great too. And I love the activities here. I only live a few blocks from RB, and my wife and I come to football games and basketball games, and the play was amazing. There's a lot of activities here all the time.
What do you do here at RB?
I have a lot of different jobs. I'm a paraprofessional, and I co-teach a chemistry class first period, and I co-teach a pre-algebra class and a social thinking skills, and I'm a personal one-on-one with a developmentally disabled student for 6th period. But most of the day I spend in Pride class trying to help kids help themselves.
What advice would you give students?
Work hard, follow your dreams. My daughter wanted to be a music major, and I really tried to encourage her not to be because there's not a lot of money in it, but she's making a lot of money and she's doing just what she wanted to do, and she's happy, and all you really want is for your kids to be productive and happy.
How long have you lived in Chicago?
Pretty much my whole life. I grew up in Broadview, and then I moved to Forest Park and Oak Park. I bought my first house in Westchester, and then I lived in LaGrange Park, and now I have a house in Brookfield.
So I understand you work at the United Center at security?
I do. I work security at the United Center and Soldier Field and White Sox Park.
And how's that? What's the craziest thing that happened at security?
Oh, there's a lot of crazy things that happen. When I get to work, my first assignment is to work on the magnetrons. The magnetrons are metal detectors to make sure that nobody brings anything unsafe in. So we sort of have a script that we ask people, do you have any wallets or cigarettes or lighters or knives, any dangerous weapons, any banned objects? And usually people laugh and say no. And then I tell them that we have the most sophisticated magnetrons this side of Midway Airport, and we're gonna, while we trust, we like to verify. So once we get you through the magnetrons and you go into your seat and people are in the building, then my job shifts to either a view bar where I stand, and they have bars upstairs at the United Center to make sure that there's no tomfoolery. Or sometimes I'm assigned to be behind the scorer's table for basketball games, and you could see me on TV all the time when they're going up and down the court.
What's the craziest thing you found in the metal detector that wasn't a weapon?
Well, the craziest things are weapons, because we don't let them in. Non-weapon items, everything comes in that you could imagine. Somebody tried to bring in a can of tuna the other day. It set off the alarm.
Dang. And did they had like a fork with it and they let that off?
No, they just had a can of tuna, no can opener, nothing. They had it in their coat.
It's probably been sitting in there for a few days. Is that the only other job you do besides RB?
Yeah, I also work at White Sox Park, where sometimes I'm assigned to protect the bullpens from people who are trying to bother the players. Sometimes I'm assigned to the dugout, where I just, if you see the security guard who stands by the dugout to make sure nobody messes with the players. It's a pretty fun gig.
You met any famous people and got their autographs?
Well, I'm not allowed to ask for autographs. As security, they ask us not to interact with people. But I meet famous people all the time. I was at the Bears game, and you guys probably don't know who Otis Wilson was, but he was a part of the '85 Bears Super Bowl team. And he was waiting for somebody, and he was just sort of hanging out with me, so I got to have about a 15-minute conversation with him. And then the person he was waiting for ended up being Richard Dent, who was another superstar football player from the '80s, so I got to hang out with both of them for a while.
Yeah, I don't know any of them, but you
Right.
said the '80s. You've been working
in
there
the
that
80s.
long?
No, but I remember when I was growing up, when I was in high school watching, or when I was in college watching professional football, the Bears in '85 were probably the best team ever.
How long have you been working there?
I've been working there for about 2 years.
Damn. You like it?
Oh, I love it. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't be there. It's more of a hobby that pays me than a job. The other day I was working in the talent tunnel for a Bulls game, and somebody came by and I didn't recognize them, and so I couldn't grant them access. And when I had them show me their ID, it was John Paxson. And you guys might not know who John Paxson was, but he played with Michael Jordan on the Bulls, and he scored huge baskets in championship games.
That's crazy. It was a pleasure having you, Mr. Kus. I'm Julius Hernandez. This is People in Perspective. Thank you for watching.